Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ruining Your Childhood.
Welcome back to another episode of Ruining Your Childhood, one sculpt at a time. Today we're going to be diving back into Courage the Cowardly Dog, aka the show that felt like a cartoon, horror movie, and a fever dream all at the same time. And we're going to be bringing to life one of the most unsettling, or should I say naughtiest characters of all time. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, count your blessings, because this guy literally ruined haircuts for me for the first 10 years of my life. So that's right folks, today we're going to be sculpting the naughty psychotic barber himself, Freaky Fred. Now, Freaky Fred wasn't exactly the most evil character on Courage the Cowardly Dog. He didn't have a chainsaw or anything crazy like that, but he definitely was one of the most unsettling for me. There was something about his calm voice, his big smile, and that classic Stanley Kubrick stare that he had, realizing he was very reminiscent of Jack Torrance from The Shining. But anyway, now that we're basically done with the basic structure of his head, I just took a ball of clay and added a few little triangles to make that classic head shape. We could go ahead and start adding his teeth. For these, I just made these off camera by using a translucent clay. The reason they're all stuck together is because I accidentally put them too close to each other in the oven, and actually kind of worked out in my favor, so I just stuck those into position, and then we can move on to building up his lips. I went ahead and took a rolled out worm of clay, applying that to the lower section of his face. I then just go around with my fingers to blend that in. We're going to go ahead and basically copy the exact same thing for the upper lip. After a little bit of refinement, I go ahead and push in his temples and eye sockets before taking a couple of pre-baked eyeballs that I made off camera. Once I was happy with their positions, I could go ahead and shove those into place. And with Freaky Fred's face balls in place, we could go ahead and start adding his lower eye bags. Took a real thin piece of rolled out clay, attaching that to the lower section of the eye, then blending that in. Now, like I said previously, Freaky Fred has that classic Stanley Kubrick stare, so we're going to be building up his upper eyebrow ridge. I made this by taking a dang nug of clay, sticking that above his eyes, making sure it overlaps a little bit. Once I had that blended in, I went ahead and added a few little refining details to the eyebrow. I went ahead and also added a little bit more detail to the upper lip, and now we can add his nose. For this, I'm taking another dank nug of clay, shaping it into a nose shape. So once I have a rough shape, I could go ahead and take the back end of my X-Acto knife, going over top, adding these little nostrils. Once I was happy with the size and look, I could go ahead and attach that to the face. Then using a variety of different sculpting tools, we're going to go ahead and blend it in, and then finish it off by using a small ball stylus to add his nostrils. I was pretty happy with how the face was looking so far, so we could go ahead and move on to his ears. For this, I just took a small ball of clay, smashing it flat, slicing it in half, and then take one of those pieces, giving it a slight C shape, making it a little bit more of a natural ear shape, and then apply these to the side of the head. Then using a very small ball stylus, I go in, adding that tiny little ear detail. Now that we got all the main facial features in their proper position, we could go ahead and go around with a variety of different sculpting tools, adding some wrinkles and folds and whatnots all across the face, just to make them look a little bit more realistic. One of my favorite texturing techniques for making skin look a little bit more realistic is I take a natural sponge, gently dabbing it across the surface. This just gives the skin a little bit more of a gritty texture. And with that, the head's looking pretty good, so we can pop it in the oven for its first bake. Now that we got his naughty head back and baked from the oven, we could go ahead and start adding his body. I went ahead and pre-drilled a hole in the back of his head and inserted this long piece of armature wire. This is going to make up his body and also one of his legs. To make up the main bulk of his body, I am switching to this other clay. It's just a little bit cheaper, so I don't feel as bad wasting clay. But once we have a rough body shape, I could go ahead and slide that up the pole. Then after a little bit of hip and shoulder refinement, I could go ahead and insert this other piece of armature wire, matching the length of the other side, making up the base of the other leg. I went ahead and actually pre-baked this, that way I could have a nice firm foundation that I could work off of. Then we're gonna pause on his torso and move on to his legs. I take a dank nug of clay, sliding up those armature wires to build up his crotchal region. I then take my thumb, smudging up the clay into the torso. After I got that all blended into the torso, we could start sleeving up those legs. My tried and true method for sleeving up limbs is covering the armature wire in a copious amount of bacon bond. I then take a rolled out piece of clay that I slice down the center, wrapping that around the piece of armature wire, smoothing out that seam and also blending it into the hips. Went ahead and did the same exact thing for the other side, and now I could take my silicone sculpting tool, adding a variety of different wrinkles and pockets and seam lines, you know, all those things that pants have. But once I was happy with how those britches were looking, we could go ahead and start working on his jacket. To start things off, I'm going to be taking a flattened out flap of clay, wrapping it around his torso, slicing off the excess bit, making sure I kind of round off the bottom portion. After I cut a little notch out of the top, I'm going to go around with my finger, blending in just the top portion of the clay into the torso. And then we're actually going to pause there and then move to his collar. Now I probably should have done all this first, but you live, you learn. As for his little collar butts, I went ahead and took these little triangles that I cut out, applying those to the top portion of the shirt. Then using my thumb, I blend in the top section, leaving those bottom parts all nice and crispy. Now as for Freaky Fred's tie, we can imagine he's rocking a double Windsor, so we're going to be keeping that knot high and tight. So once we got the knot in place, we can go ahead and start adding the rest of the tie. I had a very thin piece of clay underneath the knot, then using a small ball stylus, I start to add some tie detailing. I then take my X-Acto knife and trim off the bottom. I was pretty happy with how the undershirt was looking, so now we can move back onto the jacket. Now I need to continue those flaps up, so I'm just going to be taking a few more pieces of rolled out clay, laying that over top of the shoulder, blending in the excess bits of clay. I then go ahead and repeat the exact same process for the other side until we have a nice base structure for our jacket. As for the lapels on the front of the jacket, I just went ahead and made some strategic slicing there to get those lapels, then laying those gingerly across his chest. Once I got those in place, I went ahead and blended those in. And to make sure everything looks nice and proportioned, I'm gonna go ahead and put his head back on. Now I feel like one of the best ways to make fabric look like fabric is using a piece of fabric. So I'm gonna be taking him, laying him inside of this piece of cloth. Then I'm gently gonna rub this across the surface, and it leaves these little tiny bumps on the outside, giving it a more natural look. Now that we get the body all texturified, we could go ahead and pop him in the oven for another bake. And now that Freaky Fred's got a rock hard bod, we could go ahead and start working on his arms. Starting things off, I went ahead and drilled a couple holes on either side of his shoulders, in which I then insert these two little pieces of armature wire. I was pretty happy with the length of the arms, so I could go ahead and bend them into their final resting positions. We're gonna be going for that classic pose, you know, the one where they open the door and he's standing there holding his bag in front of him. Something about it just doesn't sit right. But now that we got those arms bent into place, we could go ahead and start popping them out and sleeving them up. Much like the legs, we're going to be doing a very similar process of covering it with some bacon bond, then taking a flattened out piece of clay and wrapping it around it. Now, since the arm is already bent into its awkward shape, I'm literally just going to be sandwiching the clay around it, then slicing off all the excess bits. After going around, refining the arms a little bit, making them more round and arm-like, we could go ahead and take those and insert that back onto the body. And now that we have the arm inserted, I can take a couple nugs of clay, bulking it up his shoulder and filling in some little gaps. I then go around with my finger, smoothing out those bumps and imperfections before taking a silicone sculpting tool to add some surface wrinkles. Doing the exact same process, I went ahead and did the other arm off camera. Now we could go ahead and start on his bag. Start off with the chunk of clay that I went around flattening off all the ends. Took the back end of my X-Acto knife to make sure everything was squared off before taking a flattened out piece of clay, laying that over top of the upper section of the bag. I then took my X-Acto knife to square things off again, and then we could start adding some details. Starting things off with a little buckle that goes on the front of the bag, I just cut a little rectangle. I also made some lines that go around the outside to make up the seams, but apparently I never filmed it. But as for the handle, I just cut a piece of armature wire, inserting that into the top, and we got ourselves a nice little baggie. Is it a briefcase? I don't know. Anyway, onto the hands. We start things off by taking a nug of clay, sticking it onto those little wrist bits. I then take the bag and shove it up into the clay. I then go around with a variety of different sculpting tools to start adding his hands. We're going to start off with the big shapes first just to get the overall silhouette. Then we could go ahead and start to refine things by adding his fingers, knuckles, and top of the hand detailing. I found this to be much easier than trying to sculpt individual hands holding the bag. It just would have been this whole thing. So I opted out for this a little bit more simple version, but you know what? I like how they turned out. Now that we have his hands complete, we could go ahead and finish things off by adding his feet. We start things off by taking another dank nug of clay, forming into a long jelly bean shape before slicing it in half. After a little bit more refinement, I could go ahead and take those and stick those onto the front of his pants. Now, the reason I'm using this white clay is because it's incredibly sticky, so it actually made it a lot easier sticking it to the front without using any of that oven bake adhesive. But once I got that shoe on there and I did a little bit of refining, I went ahead and did the same thing for the other side, and we got ourselves a couple of feet, and Freddy's looking good, so we could go ahead and pop in the oven for his final bake. And with Freddy Boy back and baked from the oven, we could go ahead and start the painting process. I like to give all my sculptures a nice base coat of their initial base coat colors. We're gonna be starting with the shoes, and for this I'm just gonna be painting them black. Once I got those thoroughly coated, we could go ahead and move up to his suit. Starting with his breeches, we are going to be painting this almost an olive green. Now the color that I'm painting on right now does darken over time. It just looks a little bit light when you initially put it on. I got this color by mixing intermediate green, dark flesh, and a tiny bit of cadmium yellow medium. As for his shirt, instead of just painting it straight white, I am going to be using an off-white called unbleached titanium. It has kind of a warmer undertone, so I like how it looks for shirts. And as for his tie, he's going to be getting purple, and for this I just used a color called purple. Shocking, I know. But with his tie complete, now we can move on to his bag. As for the bag, I went ahead and mixed up a very dark blue. The colors I used for this were magic blue and black. And once we got the bag completely painted, we could go ahead and start painting on his flesh. I made this jaundice inspired skin tone by mixing a color called dark flesh, unbleached titanium, and cadmium red medium. Went ahead and started off with the hands first, and then we can move on to the head. The only thing I do a little bit different with the head is that I significantly water down the paint. It just kind of helps retain some of the detailing. But with the head completely painted and dried, we could go ahead and attach that back to the body. To finish things off, I'm going to go ahead and paint his eyes with an off-white called parchment. And now that we have all the base coats completed, we could go ahead and start making this bad boy look more alive using washes. Starting off with the pants, I went ahead and mixed up a much darker version of that initial color, basically just adding black to that initial mixture, watering it down significantly, painting it on the surface, letting it sink into all those little cracks and recesses. After I wait a few seconds, then I go in with a cloth to wipe it all off. And once I let that fully dry, I went over top of it with a dry brushing of that initial color, just a little bit lighter and with a little bit more warmth. And as for Fred's shirt, we're going to be keeping it nice and simple, just going over top of it with a brown wash, just letting it seep into those wrinkles and recesses, adding a little bit of shadow. And then as for the tie, I'm just going to go over top of it with a light purple just to make it pop a little bit more. And with the clothes done, we could go ahead and move on to the hand. For this, I'm just going to be using a crimson red, really watering it down, going over top of his knuckles, letting it seep down between the fingers, and then adding some to the top of the hands. And I went ahead and saved my favorite part for last, and that is of course his face. Now I found the best way to make skin look more realistic is to add multiple layers of different colored washes. So for this, we're going to be starting off with a crimson red, really watering it down, letting it sink into all those recesses and cracks. After letting it dry a little bit, I go ahead and take a cloth, dabbing it on the surface, just leaving those details behind. Once I was happy with the application of that first wash, I could go in with a cadmium red wash just to give it a little bit more variety to the skin. I was pretty happy with how the skin was looking so far, so we're going to go in and pause there and actually work on his teeth. I felt like they're a little too dark, so I am going to be going over top of them with a white wash, and to make his teeth a little bit more grimy, I'm going to go in with a yellow wash, going over the top and middle portions of the teeth, and then while that paint is still wet, I'm going to go over top of that again with another white wash just to kind of blend it all together. And last but not least, to finish the skin off, I'm going to be going over his chin area with a light blue wash. This gives a little bit more variety to the skin tone and kind of also gives the appearance of stubble. I also add a little bit to the under eyes to make those bags pop a little bit more. I'm also going to be adding a few veins to his temples and then wiping most of it off. It's very subtle, but I think it looks nice. Now in the show, his eyes were almost a greenish tone, but to kind of keep it more realistic, we're just going to be making these things look like they're just infested with jaundice. I'm not really sure if that's how jaundice works. I don't know if it infests you, but you know, he needs something. Flintstone vitamin, I don't know. He needs it. Anyway, now that we yellowified the eyes, we could go ahead and pause there, let that dry, and move down to his bag. I'm going to be painting the upper section of the bag with this blue wash, then wiping most of it off, just leaving a little bit more variety to the upper section of the bag. And then we finish off by painting that buckle silver. And with his bag complete and his eyes completely dry, we can move back up to start adding the color. Now to make up for the fact that we didn't make the white of his eyes green, we are going to be making his irises green. I went ahead and started off by using the exact same green that I used for his suit. I then followed up for a much lighter green. I got this color by mixing that initial green with a little bit of lime green. And to finish off his eyes, I went ahead and took a very small ball stylus, dipping it into some black paint to add in his pupil. And with the eyes done, that completes the painting process, and now we could start on the hair. Now Freaky Fred has these incredibly bushy blonde eyebrows, and so for this I went ahead and actually cut some pieces of this natural sponge. I went ahead and glued them on above the eyes using this glue called Fabric Fusion. It's a fabric glue, but it happens to work pretty well on sculptures. Now that we have his eyebrows in place, we could go ahead and start moving on to his actual hair. Now for this, I'm just going to be using snippets of a blonde wig that I have, using that same exact Fabric Fusion glue, applying it to the back, and I'm just really going to be building it up in layers. Not too worried about how it looks right now, mostly just worried about bulking it up. I also use my X-Acto knife to kind of hold down the hair while it's drying, that way it doesn't stick to my fingers. Once I was happy with the bulk of the hair that I had, I could go in with some scissors and my fingers just to refine the hair to make it look more like his hairstyle. And with that and a little bit of off-camera detailing, we're onto those JCPenney glamour shots. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and also leave a comment down below of who you would like to see me sculpt next. I'll see you next time.